But one of the first things the players do when they come back into camp is pay a visit to you and the medical team. What's that for?
Well, let's assume they played 2 days ago. We usually give them the Sunday off unless it's an injured player. If we have an injured player from the game, we'll bring them in and treat them the day after. We give all the players appointments to come in and we'll do a screen. The screen is just to make sure they've got no bumps from the last week, but also look at stuff that's ongoing, stuff that's been looked at the club. We get that data, so we've got some good stuff we can actually filter back to the clubs to keep continuity of treatment. A lot of the screens can tell us whether players are actually beginning to get a little bit overtrained or they're undercooked, and we can modify their training week according to what we see.
What sort of state are the players normally in 24 hours after a game?
Well, these days are actually pretty good. Unless they picked up a new knock, they're fairly good. We've got a pretty structured week, which means by the end of the week the fellas are pretty recovered, ready to play, but they're conditioned to do that.
Electrolytes are something that people don't necessarily, they're not that aware of that you need to replace them. These players will be losing a significant amount of electrolytes as well as their sweat loss. Those electrolytes actually work in an important function within your body. Within your circulatory system, you've got different measures across, your bloodstream that actually measure the amount of salt that's diluted in the fluid, and that actually acts as your hydration guide essentially. So once you lose fluid, you also want to top up the electrolytes so that you're topping up the fluid and the electrolytes. If you just replace it with water, then your electrolytes are dissolved in that blood and your body doesn't necessarily understand that it needs to keep all of that fluid, so it can sometimes obviously get rid of it. So, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for your hydration levels to be peaked and the volume of your blood to be peaked as well.
Phil, we saw you doing some prehabbing with Manu.
Yeah.
What were you going through there and why is it important?
Well, Manu's back in full training now, but as part of his preventive stuff, having just returned from an ankle injury, he needs to keep on top of ankle strength, ankle stability, what we call proprioception, the ability to control the joint under load.
Generally, prehabbing though, for all the players, what is it for? And in the test week, how does it make them get from one test to another?
Now, prehab's two functions really. One, it's a preventive measure going into a game, but also if you've had a history of injuries, it's one way we can try and prevent them happening again. I suppose it's trying to make the players less injury prone.
Is it more important early in the week?
The whole idea of a training week is to prepare boys to play at the weekend, so you don't want to be doing stuff that's going to play on their games playing or interfere with their games playing ability at the end of the week. So we get it nice and early so they can get that out of the way. Back end of the week then they can concentrate just on playing.
We'll plan the session so it's going to be the one guy's big lift. We want them to get strength, or want to use a strength workout, so we'll try and get them to a whole body, and most will do that, apart from the fact that if they've got any knocks or injuries, they'll do a push and a pull, and then we'll put some ancillary exercise in that'll assist with shoulder work and areas that they may feel that they need, in conjunction with what the physiotherapists are going to do.
The players are pretty much ready to go, so 48 hours after a match, they can do heavy lifting soon afterwards.
It's the best time for them to do it. 48, 72, some may need it a little bit longer, but we can work the sessions around that. By and large, 48 hours in, they're ready to go.
Just like with any sport, the key is getting the nutrition right. So a lot of people will think that it's just about supplements, and supplements definitely help and aid that, but it's about getting the fundamentals right. Muscles are a protein, so when you've worked them hard, you've broken them down, you may have torn them, you may have injured them slightly, and that's kind of what happens when we exercise. And what we want is to try and get the adaptation, so to improve strength, to help repair and grow, protein is a key factor. So protein is very important. To help all of that and to drive the engine, then carbohydrate is the key. I often say to myself that, protein's to grow and carbohydrates to go, and that's definitely a key thing for a rugby player.
We're 3 days now after a game, Bobby. This is the biggest day of training, isn't it? It's important the players are back fit and firing.
Yeah, obviously this is our double day, so this one we've got all our 33 players. We'll lose 10 players tonight back to the clubs. So this is when we get most of our big rugby stuff done, because we've got opposition, our units, scrum and line out there.
In terms of nutrition, on a day like today where there's more perhaps physical activity than other days, do the players eat anything different in their diet?
Yeah, we'll have the boys on a bit more of a carb orientated diet today, because the boys will get through a lot more work. There'll be a bit more carbs at lunch, because post the morning session it helps them refuel, and the carbs will help them go with some intensity for the afternoon session.
For a training session, these players will tend to lose about 1.5 to 2.5 litres of sweat per hour, which is a significant amount of loss. and also over the course of a game about 2.5 to 3.5 litres, which if you think about that in a bottle, it's a lot of fluid, so they've got to replace that as soon as possible. Your physiology is affected by that loss of fluid, so your blood volume will be significantly reduced, meaning that your blood is thicker, and you don't want that because your heart then has to work harder for your muscles to be able to get the oxygen and nutrients it needs to be able to recover effectively, and you want your fluid and hydration and circulatory system to be working as hard for you as possible. So rehydration is really important in that process.
They've had their strength workout in the beginning part of the week to maintain the strength, to help fire up some of the muscles, which the strength will actually do, help the neuromuscular pathways fire along. Now, as we come into the second phase of the week, we want to work a power session in. So the guys are going to move, not as heavy weights, but they're going to want to move as fast as they possibly can. Some of the guys will be doing sprints in the gym, which is their way of developing and producing their power, and works for them as they take it into preparation for the game.
Players have just had a day off yesterday, of course. How does that affect what they can do first thing? First thing they do is come and see you and Bobby, of course, which is obviously lovely for them.
We get fired up, ready to go, but the physios will work with them. They'll all have been screened before they come in, or they come in last night to check where they are, if there's everything's good to go. Any treatments that they need that prepares them for today, they'll have they've had some meetings, so the focus is really ramping up now, ready for the test. They'll then come into us. They'll have to add some prehab beforehand, so it gets the body fired up. A warm up, a sense, but a specific warm up for them, so they're good to go. And then we come into us and we start with a couple of warm up sets, but then we go in for full on power. So we want speed, we want ballisticness, we want velocities that the guys are working. The rugby session after this will be light as well, just toning it on things or making sure things are working, and the guys have run through what they need to do, and then it'll be feet up and ready in preparation and get themselves sorted for the test.
Seen the players doing the captain's run behind you at Twickenham. It's the last bit of physical activity before a game, so it's quite a light session, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty low key. I mean, it's a short warm up, 5-minute warm up, and then about 12 minutes teamwork, just going through plays, final rehearsal stuff, just so the lads are switched on for tomorrow. And then the boys split and they'll do a bit of, the forwards do a bit of line-outs and the backs do a bit of kicking, and then that's it. So it'll probably be done in like 30-40 minutes.
The coaches always say it's time for the players to take over and do their own thing, but from a physiology point of view, you've got them as far as you can in the week, haven't you? And they just need to relax themselves this afternoon.
Yeah, no, it was just a taper to the game, so obviously the training volume and intensity drops off to the game. So yeah, it's just for the boys to feel good really for tomorrow, and the rest up today. Have a big focus on hydration over the next 24 hours and be drinking, eat well, fuel up great for tomorrow's game.